In the beginning of the drama, we see the female lead of this drama, Tian, and hear Tian telling us about herself that how much she loves the melody of nature. She used to listen to the sounds of nature and also record them, and she had a hobby of doing all this with her dad since childhood. Even today, she is listening to all this, and along with that, she also had a dream that was to become a music composer. We also get to know that Kian's house is right on the beach, and there is a very beautiful and lovely house which his father has left for her. Her friend calls her and then says, "I have a ticket of your favorite singer Jang's concert, which I left at your house." Hearing this, Tian becomes very happy. Jang was her favorite idol. And then we see the male lead of our drama, Jinzi. He is a superstar, a very famous singer. He is a successful singer, and because of being an idol, he has a huge fan following, and wherever he used to go, he was always surrounded by his fans. He wanted to live a private and secure life, but it was not possible, and even today, to avoid fans and media, he wears a laborer's costume and passes by the side while his assistant passes in front of the media in his disguise. In the next scene, he had reached for one of his photo shoots, and our female lead Tian had also reached the same place where the photo shoot was taking place. She thought that today there was a concert of Jang, but the concert was at the same place on some other date. Here, by mistake, she joins Jinzi's photo shoot, due to which the guards push her out of there. Then we come to know that there is another star girl, and her name is Sha Sha. She has fallen in love with Jinzi and keeps trying to get very close to him, but he never pays much attention to her. In the next scene, Jinzi was listening to an important call on one side, and the way he was talking on it, he did not want anyone to come to know it. While Tian was at the same place and recording some sound, he feels that there is a crazy fan, or she has come from the media, and she has recorded his conversation, and he snatches his recorder from her. Now, there was a lot of valuable data in it, and to get this, she reaches his next event where he had a meeting with his fans. She reaches there and asks for her recorder from him, but again the guards push her out of there. Then today she was seeing Jinzi's photos all over the world, and she is surprised to see how crazy people are his fans. But there was no special place for Jinzi in her heart. She only wanted her recorder, and Jinzi had gone for his next work. There was a reality show here in which the part was that Jinzi was made a cab driver after doing makeup, and here he had to make the passengers sit near him and see if they could recognize him or not. Now 2-3 passengers recognize him, but after that his next passenger was none other than Tian. And she does not even look at him nor recognize him by his voice. He himself starts asking if you know singer Jinzi, and as soon as she hears his name, she starts badmouthing him that neither his looks are good nor his voice is special. And on this matter, both of them fight with each other, because Tian had also recognized him. She was asking for her recorder from him, and in the meantime their cabs collide with something. There was a minor accident, after which both of them were taken to the hospital. Although they did not have any special trouble, Jinzi shouts a lot at her that, "Because of you I have a scratch on my face. I was a flop beauty." Now after that, Jinzi also decides to return her recorder to her and save himself from her. But the recorder was a bit damaged due to the scratch of the accident. When she looks at it, she finds out that it has become completely useless, and there was so much precious data inside it. How will she revive it? But Jinzi could not understand her tension. Tian gets angry at him and leaves from there. Now in the evening, Tian was going somewhere while traveling in a bus, and a passenger comes out of the bus who collapses on the road. And one of those passengers was also a Dr. Yoon, who immediately helps him and saves his life. He tells that if he was not helped immediately, he could have died of suffocation. Here Tian is very impressed with that doctor. In the next scene, when Tian returns to her house, and at the same time someone else is in that house. He was also entering, and it was none other than Jinzi. According to him, he has bought this house recently, and this house on the beach was very quiet and very beautiful, so he thought that it was the perfect place for him. But both of them thought that they were living alone in this house. So Tian freshens up at night after taking a bath, and she starts composing her song, and she is also getting wet by humming a little. And then as soon as she goes to the kitchen to eat food, Jinzi hears her voice right here, and he feels as if this house is haunted. There is a witch who is walking around here at night and is also humming. Then he comes and starts checking in the kitchen. He sees someone's shadow there, and he goes and hides in a tent. The poor guy was very scared, and then both of them catch each other and both start shouting at each other, "How dare you enter my house?" And here Tian started showing him the things of the house that look, all this is mine, and also the signs of my father. And in the meantime, she throws him out of the door and then locks it from inside. Now the poor guy keeps standing outside and shouting for a long time, and after that it starts raining outside. Then he sees a dog house there and takes shelter in it. Next morning, Tian wakes up and she sees that he is sleeping in a doghouse. She goes there and first takes a photo of him, and then tries to wake him up and finds out that he has a very high fever. Now she brings him inside the house. She takes care of him and also makes soup for him. Meanwhile, Jinzi had called his manager there so that she can see what the situation is. As soon as she reaches inside, she sees that a girl shouts at Tion and says, "If the media sees you both together, then rumors will spread that there will be some scandal against you." Now the manager takes Tion out and shows him the documents that this house was actually in Jinzi's name all this time. She is surprised to see this. She comes to know that this house was sold to Jinzi by none other than her friend Xia Qin. She is shocked to see this, and when Jinzi comes to know about this, he also feels very bad because he realized that this house has been sold to him without Tion's consent. He was feeling a lot of sympathy for her. Tion also goes to meet Xia Qin filled with anger. Here we come to know that actually Xia Qin was very worried about her brother's debts, and she shared the same thing with Tion. She was also drunk at that time, and in excitement, she gives the authorization of the house, which was in her name, to Xia Qin. And she says that all your problems are mine, and in this way she had forgotten all this after doing all that. But later when Xia Qin got a good price, she sold the same house to Jinzi. And now on this matter, Tion beats her a lot and says, "I loved that house very much because my and my dad's childhood memories are associated with it," and also says, "I will get that house back at any cost and you will get it for me." Now after a while she calms herself and goes to him and says, "Some of my stuff is lying in this house. Let me pick it up." He tells her, "Okay, you pick up your stuff and then go from here." Now here Tion gets very angry when he was using her lovely things happily. She also talks to him that, "I will pay you in installments or return the house to me," but he throws her out of the house. He himself had gone to work. Here from behind, Tion somehow enters the house again, and this time when he comes back it seems that she is sleeping on the sofa there itself. Now he asks her a lot to leave from there, but then she starts blackmailing him and says, "I will also live in this house." She had a photo of him sleeping in the doghouse. When she says, "I am going to post it on social media," it was here that he snatched the phone from her, and they both became very close to each other. And then a reporter comes out of their house lying in the trash can and takes a photo of them in this condition. And then the next morning this photo had gone viral everywhere, and at the place where Tion used to work in a cafe, people there also start recognizing her because of this photo. She was not able to understand the strange looks of them, but she understands when she gets Xia Qin's call and she starts telling her, "What were you doing with superstar Jinzi? And your photos with Jinzi have gone viral and everyone is saying that you both are in a live-in relationship." Now she gets worried seeing this. In the next scene, she immediately reaches Jinzi, and he also got worried at that time. As soon as the manager comes from upstairs, he hides Tion downstairs. The manager came to him with a solution for this disaster and says, "We will make you a couple with our model Sha from the agency. You guys pretend a little that you guys are a couple and people will forget this news." Tion was almost breathless. She comes out of that cabinet and the manager starts feeling right then that something is fishy. This girl is at his house again. She takes him aside and starts explaining to him that a controversy comes in the life of superstars and that which ruins everything. May this not happen to you too. So think with a cool mind. And in the next scene we show a surgeon, and this was Jinzi's father. Jinzi's dad was actually a doctor, and he also starts remembering some old memory. Actually his wish was that his son Jinzi should become a successful surgeon like him. But there was a lot of fight between father and son because Jinzi did not want to choose a profession his dad wanted. His dream was to become a singer, and he had also fulfilled this dream. On the other hand, Tion was also staying at Jinzi's house by forcefully and blackmailing. There she sees an invitation of a celebration, and Jang, her favorite idol, was also going to come in the same celebration party. She requests Jinzi to give her an invitation card to go there. "I want to meet him happily and show him one of my composed songs." On this he laughs a lot and says, "You are a composer." And at the same time he tells her, "You are not going to that party. You have already created a lot of trouble." In the next scene, Jin's father had a student named Dr. Yoon, and he was the same doctor from the bus. He considered Dr. Yoon as his best student and loved him like his son. On the other hand, Tion cooks food for him, and she requests a lot, but even then he didn't get the invitation card. But she was not going to stay behind. She was very stubborn, and she also reaches to go to that party, but again she is pushed by the security and is thrown out from the back door. In the next scene, Jinzi's father, mom, and along with them Dr. Yoon had also come to attend the same party. Here Dr. Yoon was standing on one side, and he sees that a girl Tion from the same bus is trying to enter the party from the back door. When he sees her, he offers to help her that she can enter with him, and then he makes her his partner and takes her inside from there. And now because of Dr. Yoon, finally she goes there, and Jang is also there. She takes an autograph from him while we see Jinzi standing with his mom and dad. But it was clear that his mom and dad don't get along well with him. But dad introduces him to a girl named Mang, and he wanted to make Mang his daughter-in-law. That's why he brought her to the party. She was the daughter of one of his friends. But dad was also talking very badly because he didn't care about his hospital and business at all. He goes away saying, "Look, Dr. Yoon, your cute, talented student, and this girl is so gorgeous. Both of them are so gorgeous, then what is the need of me?" In the next scene, the manager tells him, "You have to handle the media properly today. Shasha is portraying to become your girlfriend." And the way Shasha comes and stands with Jinzi, he feels very bad about all that. He always found Shasha ignorant, and now he is pretending like a boyfriend-girlfriend with her. The way the manager handles his life, she was saying that you cannot have a girlfriend. This decision will be taken by the agency. This did not sound good at all. And when he was ill, Tian was taking good care of him at home. She feeds him soup, takes care of him. I don't know what comes to his mind suddenly. He goes, holds Tian's hand and presents her in front of the media and says, "This is my girlfriend, my fiancé, whom I am going to marry. And our photo has gone viral with her." And saying this, he even kisses her. Now all this was so shocking that Tian could not do anything. And then the next day, when she comes to her sense, she gets so angry at Jinzi for kissing her without permission that she picks up his toothbrush and uses it on the dog. And when Jinzi wakes up, she clearly tells him that, "I do not want to become your fiancé." Then he also tells her that, "Okay, then become my wife." And then he also tells her that it is the fault of both of us in that. "If you had not come and blackmailed me like this, our photos would not have been out. Now you will have to take some responsibility." And he agrees to make a deal with her that you become my contracted wife for 1 year, and after that I will return this house to you. On the other hand, the manager was worried about how she will handle the media now. Meanwhile, Jinzi reaches there and says, "Now give the news of my marriage to the media, because in this way I want to end your constant headache. Now no news related to my love affair will come. I am going to get married." On the other hand, Tian was worried and goes to her friends and tells them the same thing. She was thinking that it is not a bad deal. If she can really get her house back by doing a little acting for 1 year, then she will have to do that. After that, the manager calls Tian to meet her and tells her that you both have a contract marriage for 1 year, and when the media gets into all this news, she will have to do it. Then people lose interest, then I will find a chance to get you both divorced. After that, you will get this house. But she puts a biggest condition for this, that during this time you will not develop any feelings for Jinzi. Tian thought that of course she will never do it as she has no interest in Jinzi. Now when she remembers the moments spent with her dad, she thinks that she can do this much to get her house back. In the next scene, Tian also goes and meets Jinzi and tells him some of her conditions, and he tells her his condition. And the most important of them was that they will pretend in front of the world as if they are real husband and wife. And Jinzi, of course, will not tell anyone, but Tian will not tell anyone the reality of the contract marriage. She will not share it. Otherwise, their agreement will be terminated and Tian will not get anything. In the next scene, they were going to give an appearance in front of the media to announce their marriage, and here Tian comes so beautifully ready that when Jinzi sees her, he just keeps looking at her. She was a little nervous and was getting scared, so he gives her his hand, which gives her a little confidence. Now both of them are presented in front of the media and start acting so romantic with each other, whose whole family was also watching all this on TV, and his beard is very happy to see this. They found Tian very beautiful. Now people start asking questions about her personal life, and here Tian tries her best to tease Jinzi. She tells that when he gets angry, his nose swells, his chin goes up, but even in such a situation, he looks very cute to me. Now Jinzi can only tolerate all that. After listening to this, Jinzi also tells her a few bad things, and then starts saying that despite being single, and then starts saying that she is so optimistic that she wants to become a song composer. Well, now the media finds their couple very cute, but the manager doesn't enjoy these antics. And then finally, they both register their marriage. Now the next event was to hold their wedding ceremony, and the manager selects a very amazing white gown for Tian. While on the other side, Jinzi's family had called Tian to their place today to take her interview. Grandmother asks her very tough question, and in the meantime, Jinzi also comes to save his contracted wife. But here again, the environment of the house becomes very bad when the father and son had a fight and Jinzi leaves from there taking his wife. In the next scene on the way back, they both fight a lot, and on this matter she says, "If you stop here, then I will go back from here myself," and he also says, "I too have no interest in giving you a lift." Now she gets down, but she had forgotten both her phone and her handbag in the car. Neither did she have money, nor could she call anyone for help. The poor lady was left all alone. As soon as Jinzi realizes that she has forgotten her things here, he turns the car. Whereas on the other side, Dr. Yoon sees Tian, the poor lady, was also injured, so he starts helping her, and also gives her a lift. On the other side, Jinzi reaches home. When he does not see Tian anywhere on the way, but after reaching home, he was very tensed, so he cannot stop himself and takes out his car again and goes out to search for her on the road. Whereas on the other side, Tian was in a very bad mood. She reaches her friend's place and drinks a lot there. Next morning, their wedding ceremony was to be held, in which a lot of media had reached and their friends and family too, but anyone was not aware of anything about Tian. The manager was very worried, but her preparations were complete. She had also prepared 3 points. If Tian did not come there, what excuse would she give in front of the media? Jinzi was also very nervous and was standing as a groom, but Tian was not coming there. Before he could announce anything about why his wife was not coming, his wife had reached there wearing a beautiful bridal dress, which was brought there by Xiao Qin. Then finally both of them take their vows, and in front of the world they had become a couple. And Jinzi, in a kissing pose, also threatens her that never try to create any scene in the future. Well, now a nice wedding ceremony of theirs had been arranged. In the next scene, both of them are sent on a honeymoon trip. Here they were not getting along at all, but actually it was not a real honeymoon trip. It was a photo shoot of both of them. And here they had also got a lot of advertisements together in which they had to pretend like a happy couple. But both of them had a very bad feeling. They did not want to be close to each other. Now, while living here, only one bed was also arranged on which Jinzi occupies himself and tells her that if you want to sleep, then come and sleep here beside me. I am not going anywhere. Now the poor girl picks up a pillow and tries to arrange herself on a chair in the balcony. While inside, Jinzi is enjoying his vacation a lot, watching TV shows. Then seeing him happy, Tian gets very angry, but she was also able to control herself. Now when she was in the tent, she was bitten by a lot of mosquitoes, which is why she is forced to come inside. And when he sees her in his own bed, he gets very angry at her and takes off his socks and makes her smell it. Tian was not going to stay behind, and both of them were calling each other disgusting. And even then, when Tian does not agree, then he takes off his pants and says, I will sleep only in my pants. Now of course, after seeing this, Tian has to run away from there. Now here there was a photo shoot of hers from a jewelry company. Here she was wearing a lot of jewelry, but in the meantime a ring goes missing, which fell somewhere in the grassland. Now that ring was very expensive. Tian starts getting very tensed about this. When she sees its price, she thinks that she will not be able to pay this price in her entire life. But Jinzi did not care. But her manager had said that all this is important for your reputation. All the jewelry that has come will have to be returned. Jinzi stops Tian a lot, but she still starts searching for the same ring everywhere. In this way it was night, and till now it was not coming back. Jinzi starts getting very tensed about it. He waits for it for a long time and then goes to sleep. Next morning when he looks, it is again at the same place. She was busy searching for the ring, so he lies to her that it was fake. Why are you taking so much tension? After hearing this, Tian gets a little relieved and also gets angry at him that, why didn't you tell me earlier? Next time they had a photo shoot while horse riding. Once the horse was about to go out of his control, then Tian reaches there and controls it. Seeing this, Jinzi gets very happy. Now later he also asks her that, how do you know all this? Then she tells that, my dad has taught me everything in childhood. I used to go horse riding with him. Now both of them lived in the same house and used to spend the whole day together, but still used to fight all the time. Meanwhile, the manager had left an assistant to keep an eye on them, who was seeing that no romantic feeling is progressing between them. While on the other side, Tian finds the same ring near the boat the next day. She gets very happy. Now Jinzi was saying that it is returning the ring. He does it because of course it was real, but she starts saying that it is fake. It is so beautiful, why should I not keep it? And seeing her disappointed like this, he makes her wear the same ring and says that of course you can keep it. It is fake. And then he himself pays for the ring. And then after that they come back from their honeymoon trip, and here they were living in the same house again, the beach house. Here she was playing the piano. He picks it up and says that you do not play well. And then after that he gives her a lot of information related to music instruments and composing. He helps her a lot, and in the middle of their talks like this, when their talks turn into a fight, it is not known. Now after a while he says to Tian that both go for dinner together today. At first Tian was not willing, but then she thinks that she will get to eat such expensive food, so she says yes. Now the next day Tian had a meeting as a music composer. She goes to a place to give an interview, but after going there she comes to know that those people are not at all interested in her music. They actually want her only because she is Jinzi's wife. But Tian did not accept this thing at all. She wanted that if she becomes something, then it should be only on her own strength. Now after that she reaches the same place for dinner where she had called him, but Jinzi is with his manager at that time. She calls Jinzi and the manager comes to know that these two are for making dinner plans. Then something comes in her mind too. She deliberately keeps them busy as much as possible today, and at that time when he had to go to meet his wife, she stops him and says, "It has been 7 years today. Both of us work together, so celebration is a must." And after that she hugs him. Here there are some suspicions in his eyes. Tion gets tired of waiting for him. She calls him again. Here the manager very cleverly disconnects her call and then keeps him busy by making him sit with her and also makes him drink. Now she herself had also become drunk. Jinzi handles her with great difficulty and sends her from there. And poor Tion kept waiting for him there till 12 o'clock. All the people leave from there, so she is also forced to leave from there. Now she reaches home. After some time Jinzi reaches there. He was in a drunk state. Tion gets very angry seeing him in this way, that "You have not done anything for me. Why did you not pick up the calls?" And then he starts telling her that, "Why are you becoming my real wife? Don't forget that we are in a contract. And let me tell you that I did not do it intentionally. My phone was switched off and I had some important work." Well, now seeing this, Tion also gets very angry and her mood turns off. Now after that we are shown that the next day Tion goes to an antique music shop and by chance she meets Dr. Yoon there. And here both of them come to know in their conversation that their music interests are exactly the same and there is only one record which both of them like a lot. Actually this record is rare. They come to know that there is only one copy and that too Dr. Yoon has already booked. But Dr. Yoon, seeing Tion's disappointed face, says, "Give it from my side as a gift." Now Tion will take it, but in return I invite you to lunch. We will eat together. It will be my treat. Now she was sitting with him to have lunch when Jinzi had also come for some work. He sees them together and becomes very jealous and comes and sits next to them. Now he holds Tion's hand and keeps saying honey to her. Actually, he was always very jealous of Dr. Yoon because dad used to praise him so much, and in front of him he always used to say bad things about Jinzi. Here he tries very hard to do fake romance, but meanwhile he sees that Yoon and Tion have become close to each other. Here he is so jealous that when he came back from the washroom, he immediately starts telling her that grandmother is unwell, so we have to go to our family house right now. Saying this, he takes her from there. On the way he asks her that, "Since when did you become friends with Yoon?" She says that we both met in the same bus and we became friends from there. He makes fun of her and tells her that "You and I also met in a taxi. I have even married you." Then she says, "Let's go quickly to meet grandmother." But in the meantime he starts acting on a phone call and says now grandmother is completely fine and does not want to meet us. Saying this he disconnects the call, but Tion did not accept it. In the next scene she forcibly takes him to the family house. Now after going there Tion finds out that grandmother had nothing to do with it. Jinzi had lied about all that. But on hearing this grandmother starts coughing a little and it seems that her health was deteriorating. Everyone gets angry at him for that. They start thinking that Jinzi had spoken such words and that is what has really started happening. Well, after that the next day we are shown that Jinzi was at work when a Moss girl came to deliver some food in his agency, but Jinzi immediately recognizes her and says, "She is my wife." He follows her and tells Tion, "Don't do such things in the future. If someone recognizes you, then what will people think?" But Tion says, "This is my job now, so I will not be able to do anything. I am not like you who can earn millions by sitting in a fancy office." She also says to him, "How do you know what the life of ordinary people is like?" And it seems that Jinzi had a crush on her. He finds out the address of her shop and then reaches the same coffee store and tells her, "I have also come here to live an ordinary life." Now there was a party of some kids going on there and Tion brings him and makes him sit in this birthday party. She says, "If you want to live an ordinary life, then make these children happy." At first Jinzi was finding it very difficult, but after that both of them are enjoying a lot with those children, and there itself they had an accident due to which both of them start blushing. At the same time a child asks Jinzi, "Uncle, do you like this sister? Is she your girlfriend?" But he says, "No, look at our wedding photo. She is my wife." On hearing this the child starts crying and his heart breaks and says, "She cheated me. Every time I used to come here she used to play with me so much as if she likes me." Now a reporter took a lot of photos of both of them together from the same coffee store and they got out in the media. And on seeing this the manager gets very angry and scolds the assistant a lot that, "Where were you when all this was happening?" On the other hand today Tion was caught by Dr. Yoon at a place. When she goes with Yoon, who was invited, she finds out that there are a lot of horses there, and we already know how much Tion likes horses. Seeing this, she becomes very happy and spends a great time with him. There was also a museum here where they see a lot of things together and enjoy. Now, when she posts all this on her movement, Jinzi also sees all this and gets very angry and asks her, "With whom did you go? Where are you? Come back now." But she says, "What do you have to do with all this?" While on the other side, Yoon had brought her to a place with him. He says, Even in childhood, I had come to a similar place, and tells her a story of his childhood friend. He says, many years have passed. We both never met, but whenever we met, she seemed very cute to me, and whenever I was upset, she used to heal me. Now, next, Jinzi tries a lot to ask Tian that, where did you go and what were you doing? But at that time, she was so busy in her music composition that she did not reply to him. But here Jinzi is so jealous that he deliberately starts playing drums and sometimes makes disturbing noises so that she cannot write a song peacefully. Now, here both of them fight a lot, and Tian tells him to keep a distance from me. But Jinzi says, you are a married woman. Contract marriage is also a marriage, and no one should find out that our relationship is fake. Here, Tian had also lied to him that today my friend Shea Chin is very busy and I will help her with work, so I won't be able to return. Now Jinzi starts getting suspicious. He also reaches near her ice cream van and starts asking around. Right there, he finds out that actually today is Tian's birthday, and maybe that's why she lied to me. We friends are going to celebrate her birthday. As soon as Jinzi hears this, he becomes very happy. He feels like doing something special for Tian too. Now he starts planning for her birthday, buys a gift for her, and even practices in front of the mirror how he will give her the gift. Then he calls her to meet at a place with an excuse. But Tian does not reach there, because Dr. Yoon had told her that I will introduce you to a music producer. Now she goes with Yoon to meet him. Actually, that music producer was also a dress designer, and they go to a wedding dress shop. Now when he listens to her music, he feels very happy. He says that yes, you have some flaws, but we can cooperate. Hearing this, Tian's happiness was worth seeing. For the first time, she was about to achieve something by her own talent. On the other hand, Jinzi was getting worried. Shea tells him that maybe she has gone to the amusement park because on every birthday, she always goes there. Now in search of her, Jinzi also reaches the amusement park, but his fans were present everywhere. Wherever he went, they would recognize him. No matter how much he tried to change his appearance, he always got caught. Now, after taking many rides alone and not finding Tian there, he comes back home. After quite some time, finally Tian back home. Jinzi gets angry at Tian. Tian had understood everything through social media because his heavy makeup and many disguised photos had gone viral online. He says, all this happened because of you. I was looking for you at that place. Now she says sorry to him. After that, he takes her with him to a place. He had booked that whole place just for her. There, both of them do ice skating together. Tian did not know how to skate. Here, he also helps her in learning skating. Both of them spend a lot of time together. Once, when she was about to fall, he holds her and saves her. And right at that moment, he also wishes her birthday, and Tian feels very special that he remembered her birthday too. After that, both of them enjoy a lot together. In the meantime, Jinzi had kept his phone aside. Manager kept calling him again and again. She was drunk and trying to call him. She was getting very angry thinking that maybe he is spending time with Tian. At the same time, we are shown another idol whose name is Lin. Actually, Lin was very jealous of Jinzi. He always felt like the reason behind Jinzi's success is not just his talent, but his manager's support. He thought, if manager supports me, I can become more successful than Jin. After that, in the next day's scene, we find out that Tian was called by Jin's grandmother to meet her at a place. Actually, she had gone to her countryside house and wanted to spend some time with the kids. She also called Tian there to train her how to take care of housework and how to become a good wife. Jinzi also came along and enjoyed watching how grandmother made Tian listen to her long speech. Here, grandmother teaches her many things: gardening, planting, and more. Then, grandmother even takes her cooking test. She sends her to a traditional style kitchen. There, Jinzi and Tian also fight a lot when Jinzi makes fun of her. But suddenly, grandmother comes from behind, and Tian traps Jinzi saying, he was the one insisting to cook today. Grandmother says, okay then, come out and cook. Now, Tian spends a lot of time in nature with grandmother, while Jin was inside making fish soup. After a while, Tian comes to check and finds out that he has put the whole raw fish directly into the soup. Later, they both serve the food in front of Grandma. When Grandma tastes the soup made by Tian, she really likes it. But while drinking the fish soup, a fish bone gets stuck in her throat. Because of that, they had to rush her to the hospital in an emergency. Tian was very worried for her because, actually, Tian had no family of her own. That's why she was always very jealous of Jinzi, that he has such a good family who loves him. Here, while Tian was enjoying time with grandmother, Jinzi's father also comes there and sees them having fun together. Now, in the same hospital, Dr. Yoon was also there. He meets Tian at a moment when he had gotten hurt by a patient. Actually, the patient had attacked doctors and hospital staff. And at the time when Yoon was getting his stitches, Tian was with him. She makes him listen to music with earphones, so he doesn't feel much pain. Seeing this, Yoon starts remembering something from his childhood. He had a friend in childhood who used to do the same thing. That childhood friend whom he still misses. Here, after seeing Tion, he understands. He holds her hand and says, "You're the one, right?" He felt like he had finally found his childhood friend again. But at that moment, Jinzi arrives there. He becomes very jealous. He comes and says, "Leave my wife's hand. You're forgetting she's married." Saying this, he takes Tion outside from there. After that, in the next day's scene, we see that Jin had ordered many red elephants from the market through his assistant, soft toys in the shape of red elephants. Actually, all of Tion's childhood memories were connected to red elephants. Since childhood, she used to hum the same song about red elephant. And Jinzi also ordered a book related to that song. Actually, Jinzi always wanted to do something special for Tion. On the other hand, the next day, Tion makes food for Dr. Yoon and goes to his office. Yoon says to her, "Truly, your husband was right yesterday. You are his wife. You shouldn't do all this for me." But Tion replies, "Yes, I'm his wife, but you're also my friend, right?" A little while later, we see Dr. Yoon eating the food and getting lost in those memories again. He keeps remembering his childhood friend, and now this Tion keeps coming in front of his eye. It feels like maybe she is Tion. After that, in the next scene, we see that Tion didn't know how to ride a bicycle, so Jinzi buys her a bicycle and teaches her how to ride it. Just then, manager arrives there too. She takes Jinzi aside and starts telling him, "Aren't you two getting too close? Did you forget that all this is just a contract?" Actually, whenever she saw them close together, she would get very jealous. And now, to purposely show Tion, she suddenly hugs Jinzi. As soon as Tion sees this, she gets distracted. She didn't know how to ride the bicycle properly anyway. She gets distracted and falls from the bicycle. Along with that, she also gets hurt on her head. Jinzi sees this and becomes very worried. He runs to her and carries her to the hospital. It looked like a small thing, but the head injury she got could actually be serious. Dr. Yoon tells this to Jinzi. He scolds the staff too and says, "Why didn't you take proper care of her?" Well, now they do all of Tion's tests and shift her to a room. But still, Tion had not regained consciousness. She was still unconscious. Here, Jinzi was getting very worried for her. And outside the hospital, a lot of media had also gathered around because of this news. When manager sees Jinzi and Tion close like this, she says, "Take their photos and post them on media." But hearing all this, Jinzi becomes angry. He didn't want any publicity at this moment. But she was the manager, and she always thought like that. Jinzi tries a lot to stop them, but still, secretly someone takes their photo. Then, after a little while, Tion finally regains consciousness. And here, Jinzi's happiness was worth seeing. Now doctors check her again, but soon they find out something. Actually, because of this injury, Tion has gotten selective amnesia. She was able to recognize her old friends, but the ones she met later, like Dr. Yoon or Jin, she had no memory of them at all. She starts asking them, "Who are you both?" Everyone becomes very worried after hearing this, but the doctors say this is temporary. She will recover soon, and everything will become normal again. Now Tion was looking at Jinzi's face again and again, trying to remember something. And not just that, she even says, "That doctor who is treating me, he is very handsome." Now, hearing so much praise of Dr. Yoon's handsomeness, Jin becomes jealous. He gets angry and says, "You don't even remember who I am?" Then angrily says, "I am your brother." Now Tion gets shocked and just keeps thinking, "You're my brother?" In the end, Jinzi's father also arrives. He tells Jinzi, "Take care of her properly. Don't trouble her. She will recover soon." Now while Tion is still in the hospital, grandmother and her mother-in-law also come. They start showing her wedding movie. While watching it, she gets shocked. "What is this? That was my brother. But why am I the bride in his wedding?" Seeing this, grandmother and mom become very worried too. They feel like maybe this is turning into something serious. Well, now Tion was behaving very strange. One time, Jinzi was sitting with her, and suddenly she starts calling him honey honey instead of brother. Jinzi becomes totally shocked. He had never heard such words from her mouth before. Tion promises him, "I will become a good wife. I will take care of you completely." Hearing this, Jinzi starts feeling very awkward. Now Jinzi spends most of his time with her, but he still doesn't tell her about the contract merit while spending so much time together. Maybe because of old habit or what, they start fighting a lot again. Like children, they were always arguing with each other. Dr. Yoon was also surprised by this strange relationship. He had never seen a couple like this before. He keeps thinking that something is definitely fishy between them. On the other hand, we are shown manager. She is looking very upset. Whenever she sees Jinzi and Tion together, it becomes clear that she likes Jinzi. Now one day, Jinzi and Tion were watching a movie together, but suddenly, Tion's dad comes to check on her. Jinzi quickly hides. When her dad asks about about Jinzi. Tion lies and says he went home. Then he calls him, and the ringtone starts ringing from under the same blanket. Dad understands that both of them are getting romantic and that his son-in-law is hiding under the blanket. He smiles in his heart and quietly leaves from there. After that, Jinzi comes out. In the next morning, grandmother and mom arrive again. When they see that Jean had stayed in the hospital all night, they become very happy and say, newly married couple, right? That's why. But also say, still, take care. Your wife hasn't recovered fully yet. Now Jinzi just keeps thinking, what all things are they imagining? And then, on the same day, Tion was supposed to be discharged from the hospital. Dr. Yoon says many times to Jean, please take good care of her when she goes back home. But Jinzi starts getting irritated. He thinks, why is he caring so much about my wife? Then Jinzi takes her home. Jinzi starts remembering about the marriage contract, that the documents are still lying in the rooms. He thinks I should hide them before she sees them. But Tion starts asking, did we live in separate rooms? How are we husband and wife then? And just then, she accidentally sees one of the documents while Jinzi is trying to hide it. She starts getting suspicious, but Jinzi somehow manages the situation. Now, to hide this contract marriage from her, Jinzi has to do a lot of weird and awkward acting so that Tion doesn't suspect anything. But as soon as manager finds out about this, she gets angry at Jinzi and says, you should tell her the truth. This is a very serious issue. But Jinzi doesn't agree to this. He says, she is already sick. Let her recover first. I can't give her such a big shock right now. After that, when he returns home, it's already night. And here, Tion was lying comfortably on his bed in his own bedroom. She wanted to sleep like a normal couple, but Jinzi felt very awkward about all this. She asks him, why are you sitting so far from me? Why are you acting so weird? But Jinzi couldn't say anything or explain anything. Somehow, he lies down in the corner on one side of the bed. But a little later, Tion wakes up and comes close to him. He gets surprised, but she says, I'm feeling very hot. I just came to get the AC remote. Then by mistake, her leg hits him and causes pain. Jinzi says, it didn't happen because of you. It's an old injury that has come back. Now she applies medicine on him with lots of care. The smell of the medicine was very strong. So Jinzi uses that as an excuse and says, you won't be able to sleep properly because of this. I'll sleep in the living room. But Jinzi couldn't sleep the whole night because of all this tension. Next morning, as soon as Jinzi leaves the house, manager comes immediately. She shows the same document to Tion and says, even if your memory is gone, you still have the right to know the truth. Tion finds out that they had a contract marriage, which was valid for 1 year only. After showing her this reality, manager feels a bit satisfied that now these two won't become too close. Tion calls Jinzi to come home. He comes early and seeing her sad, he says, shall I cook food for you? Are you hungry? But Tion shows him the document directly and says, Tiffany has told me everything. But Tion had misunderstood something else. She thought, I was such a mean person that just to get a house, I blackmailed you and made you sign a contract. She says, why would a big star like you marry someone like me? Now Jinzi becomes silent. He thinks in his heart, let her think what she wants. Now Tion starts respecting Jinzi even more in her heart, and she goes to cook for him. Then one day, her friend Shasha comes and says to Tion, I really need your help. Can you and Jinzi come together somewhere if I call you? Actually, she wanted to introduce Tion to her new boyfriend, but she had some hidden motive, which Tion didn't know about. Tion calls Jinzi and asks him to come home soon. Even though Jinzi was very busy, he still takes out time and reaches home. Now when Tion says, come with me to my friend's place, Jinzi doesn't like it much, but still agree. He feels a bit angry thinking, I left such important work for this. And when manager finds out, she also becomes angry, thinking, since when has Tion become so important in his life? Now when they reach Shasha, it turns out that she wanted to promote a brand. There, many girls take selfies with Jinzi and say they will post on social media, so people will think Jinzi uses that product. Jinzi gets very angry. Poor Tion also feels embarrassed in front of her husband. She gets up and sprays water on all those girls and forces them to delete the photo. Later, when Jinzi returns back, he finds that his whole crew has already left. Manager gets very angry at him and says, you're not even focusing on your rehearsal. In the next day, Jinzi takes Tion to the same place where they met the first time, the photo shoot location. Standing there, Tion suddenly remembers everything. Her memory comes back. She remembers everything clearly. That Jinzi is not so innocent, why he did a contract marriage, and what limits were between them. After remembering all this, she quietly leaves from there. Now reaching back home, the innocent Tion had become the old Tion again. She starts fighting with Jinzi and says, why didn't you tell me the truth? Were you trying to take advantage of me? Then Jinzi also says, you wanted to take advantage of me. You hugged me. You called me honey honey. You tried to come so close to me. So maybe your intentions were wrong. And in the middle of their fight, the assistant arrives with their wedding photo, which both of them didn't want to keep in their room, so they decide to hang it in the living area. After that, Tion goes to her favorite music shop, and there she meets Dr. Yoon again. This time, she recognizes him and says, "My memories have come back." Dr. Yoon feels very happy to hear this. Now when Tion was not at home, Jean-Z was alone. Just then Sha comes for some work. She wanted to wait for Tion to meet her, but while relaxing, she starts looking around the house and finds the marriage contract. After seeing it, she understands clearly that their marriage is fake. She shows the document to Jean-Z and says, "I know the whole reality now." Now Jean-Z calls Tion immediately and asks her to come home. Both of them are sitting face to face, and now Sha starts blackmailing them. She says, "Give me some benefit too, or I'll reveal everything to the public." So Jean-Z offers her, "I can arrange a good job for you in my agency." Sha likes the deal very much and agrees to keep their secret. At the same time, we see Dr. Yoon standing outside the house. He hears everything. Actually, just a little earlier, Tion had forgotten her handbag at his place, and he had come to return it. Yoon hears everything about the contract merit, but he acts like he doesn't know anything. He returns the handbag and quietly leaves. Now the next day, Tion says to Jeans, "You helped my friend, gave her a job, solved her problem. So now I also want to treat you in return. Will you go to watch a movie with me? I'll book 6 p.m. tickets." Jean-Z agrees happily. The next day when Jean-Z goes to work, manager tells him that he got an offer for a movie project from a very big director who wants to meet him. She tells him, "Such an opportunity comes rarely. Get ready for the meeting." Now while Jean-Z is sitting and reading the script, Tion calls him and says, "I'm waiting for you outside the theater. Just like that dinner night, are you going to keep me waiting again?" Listening to her voice, Jean-Z remembers everything. He leaves everything and rushes to meet her. When manager finds out, she gets very angry. She says, "He just left everything and went away? Today was the meeting with director Gwon. How can he be late like this?" At the same time, another idol Lin arrives to meet manager. He says to her, "If Jean-Z troubles you, then I am also an option. I know how capable you are. It's because of you that Jean-Z has reached here." He indirectly offers her to become his manager, but manager doesn't take his offer seriously and sends him away. Meanwhile, Jean-Z reaches a little late in the dark, and at first Tion gets angry, but Jean says, "If I had come on time, people would have watched me instead of the movie." After that, he spends good time with her. Tion even sleeps while resting her head on his shoulder. All this felt very romantic to Jean-Z. Meanwhile, the time for the director's meeting comes, and manager attends it alone. Director Gwon is very upset and says, "Jean-Z should have been here for this important meeting." But manager tries to cover everything and says, "He is making time for your project. Before this, he wants to complete all shoots and ads." And here we see, manager is really very capable at her job. Meanwhile, Jean-Z and Tion return home, and even at home, they enjoy a lot together. While talking, Tion tries to ask Jean-Z indirectly about his relationship with manager. Actually, she suspected that manager and Jean-Z might have feelings for each other, but she couldn't ask directly. When Jean-Z reaches the office, manager's anger was intense. She orders that all of Jean-Z's projects be canceled, and then angrily tells him, "I think you should take a break for a few days. No concerts, no rehearsal. Just go and spend time with your wife." Hearing this, Jean-Z becomes quite upset, and through his assistant, he also finds out that Lin had visited manager yesterday, and maybe she's planning to replace Jean-Z and make Lin her new idol. Meanwhile, we see Dr. Yoon performing an operation, but he is lost in his thought. Because of that, he makes a small mistake. Jean-Z's dad, who is also in the hospital, comes to him and says, "You seem distracted. Did you have a fight with your girlfriend?" Yoon says, "I don't have a girlfriend." To which his dad replies, "Then get one. At your age, you should have someone." But per Dr. Yoon, the moment someone said girlfriend, the only face that came to his mind was Tion. Meanwhile, Jean-Z wants to clear things up with manager. He calls her, and she invites him to her house. There she tells him, "You weren't like this before. You should focus on your work. This is a big director, and the script is amazing. Do you think you'll get this chance again?" She says, "I had to work so hard to convince him during the meeting. He wants you for the lead role." And she agrees to work with Jean-Z again on one condition, that he'll be professional now, and won't make such mistakes again because of Tion. After this, Jean-Z returns home. While talking, he tells Tion everything. "That day when I went to the cinema with you, it caused a big problem for me. Manager stopped giving me work for the last 2-3 days. And even today, I have no project." He says, "Now everything is sorted out. So would you like to go out with me somewhere?" He invites her to go to an indoor center with him, but she doesn't want to go alone. So she calls her friend and asks, "Can you come with me?" Coincidentally, Manager was standing right beside her friend, and she hears everything. She thinks to herself, they're going on a date? Let me ruin this too. She secretly sends her assistant to follow them. When Jinzi and Tian are enjoying together and secretly takes their photo. Today, Jinzi shares his life with Tian. He says, my dad wanted me to be a doctor. He enrolled me in medical college without even asking. I studied for 1 year unwillingly, then gave it all up. After that, Manager took control of my career. I've known her for 7 years. She introduced me to the music industry, and that's how I came this far. Meanwhile, Manager gets the photos of Jinzi and Tian together. She sends those to the ski center for publicity. She says, the center is really good. They're using Jinzi for their advertising. The next day, when Tian sees those photos, she realizes he didn't come to enjoy with me. He came here just to advertise the ski center. She gets angry and yells at him, but poor Jinzi didn't even know about it. He gets really angry and goes to Manager, but Manager says to him, maybe you're forgetting. It was the owner of this ski center who gave you your first concert opportunity. It's time to return the favor. So, what if I did a little advertising for him using your name? I'm your manager. It's my job to decide how to use you. Meanwhile, we see Tian walking her dog. She gets hurt on her foot. At the same time, in the office, Jinzi and Manager have a fight again over some work. Jinzi walks out angrily. Manager follows him, but suddenly collapses. Jinzi rushes her to the hospital. There he finds out that Manager had been suffering from gastric ulcer for a long time, but had never told anyone. She looked quite serious, so Jinzi stays at the hospital to care for her. Meanwhile, poor Tian is waiting for him the whole night at home, but he doesn't return. The next morning, when she wakes up, she finds Jinzi in the kitchen, preparing soup. She finds out that Manager was ill, and Jinzi made soup for her. Tian feels a little disappointed, but still decides to go with him to visit Manager. There she sees how Jinzi is taking care of Manager, and suddenly remembers the time when Jinzi took care of her the same way in the hospital. She begins to think, maybe I'm not that special. Maybe Manager is more special to him than me. Who am I? I'm just his contracted wife. Soon, I'll be out of his life. And maybe after that, he and Manager will be together. Manager also looks very happy. She could clearly see that Tian was jealous. Jinzi also notices that Tian's mood is a bit off. He tries to explain to her that the relationship between an idol and a manager is just work. But Tian wasn't able to understand that. Now, inside the hospital cafe. In the hospital cafe area, Tian meets Dr. Yoon. Jinzi had already noticed that Tian had a small injury on her foot. Yoon applies some medicine to her foot, and when he sees her looking sad, he offers to take her somewhere. Tian agrees to go. She wanted to maintain distance from Jinzi and forget about him, so she goes with Yoon to a place where they can watch the stars. There, they also drink together. But Tian drinks a bit too much. By the time she reaches home, she's completely drunk, and Yoon is walking behind her. Seeing this, Jinzi gets furious. He yells at Yoon, why did you let her drink so much? Yoon calmly replies, maybe you don't even know. She's injured. Her foot is hurt. You should be the one taking care of her. Then Jinzi scolds Tian. How can you drink like this with another man? But Tian is angry too. She says, I just drank and came home. But you? You stayed out the whole night taking care of Manager. Did I say anything to you? Have you forgotten? We are a contracted couple. Jinzi, hearing all this, gets really angry and storms into his room. Because of all this, both of them become very upset with each other. The next day, Tian leaves the house for a few days. She leaves behind a letter saying, I'll be staying with Sha for a while. Now she starts staying at Shasha's food truck and even helps her with work. Some people take photos of her working, and on social media, they start saying things like, looks like there's a fight between husband and wife. The wife is now doing small jobs and living separately. But Manager, as always, is very clever. She handles everything smartly. One time, Manager orders a parcel from their food truck, and when Tian comes to deliver it, Manager had already called the media there. The reporters take pictures and make it look like Tian lovingly brought food for her husband and his staff. Manager then pulls Tian aside and reminds her, as long as you're in this contract, it's your duty to act like a wife. Don't forget that. A little later, Jinzi also comes to the side. He tries to convince Tian and says, please come back home. Tian agrees and returns home. Back at home, Jinzi had planned something special for her. He says, our contract will end in 6 months, but I don't want it to end. Then he blushes a little and says, not because I've fallen for you, but because what will my fans think? That my marriage ended so quickly. And my family? They're so attached to you. Grandmother won't even let me live if we separate. But Tian starts thinking, the more time I spend with him, the harder it will be to leave. She tells him, there's no need to wait. If we have to end it later, we can just end this marriage now. Hearing this, Jinzi gets really angry. He says, I'm not divorcing you, and gets upset with her. He wondered, how could she even say something like this? Later, Jinzi sees Dr. Yoon and Tian coming out together from a music store. He starts feeling feeling suspicious. Maybe Yoon is the reason she wants a divorce. Maybe she's trying to get rid of me. But actually, there was nothing like that. In reality, Taeyeon was making mooncakes for Jinzi because the Mid-Autumn Festival was coming. But Jinzi misunderstands and says, "Fine, I got your message. Let's get divorced. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, let's celebrate with the family. Then we'll talk about divorce." Then they both go to the family home. There, they both feel awkward, especially when their parents ask them, "When are you going to give us the good news? About a baby?" Taeyeon is shocked. They're standing on the edge of divorce, and their parents are talking about a baby? Then her mother-in-law gives her a bracelet, a family heirloom passed down through generations. She says, "This doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to my daughter-in-law." Taeyeon wanted to keep distance from Jinzi and his family, but emotionally, she was becoming more attached than ever. Jinzi was also in the same state. The thought of divorce made him deeply sad. They both sleep on the same bed in the family house, but neither of them could sleep. And then we find out that this was the same teacher that Taeyeon had recommended. So when her dream starts coming true, she feels very happy. On the other side, Jinzi had also shown a music director a composition song by his wife. The director praises her, but also says, "I already know her. She was my student once, brought to me by Dr. Yoon." Hearing this, Jinzi feels hurt. He realizes what he should have done for her, Yoon had already done. Later, Taeyeon goes out with Yoon for dinner, just to thank him. But during dinner, something hot spills on her. Yoon quickly rushes to help her, but in the process, Taeyeon sees that his own arm is severely burned, yet he didn't even care about that. He was only focused on her. Right at that moment, manager secretly takes a photo of Yoon holding Taeyeon's hand. Later, Yoon tells Taeyeon about his childhood condition. He had something called congenital insensitivity to pain, which means whenever he got hurt, he never felt any pain. His mother used to be very worried. Sometimes he'd be bleeding badly, but he wouldn't even know it. He says there was a friend back then who always stood up for him, especially when other boys bullied him, saying, "Why don't you cry? Are you a robot?" That friend would come and say, "Every person is unique." Hearing this, Taeyeon repeats the same exact word, which makes Yoon realize she was that childhood friend. But Taeyeon still doesn't remember any of it. However, something about this does make her suspicious. Later, she shares this with Sha. "Maybe there's a part of my past I just can't remember." Then she returns home. Jinzi was already there, waiting for her, completely drunk. He's looking at her photo, thinking, "I wish we never had to get divorced." When Taeyeon walks in, he asks her, "Are you divorcing me because of Yoon?" She replies, "I swear, it's nothing like that." "Then is it because I laugh at you? Because I tease you?" he asks. She softly responds, "Not that either. Just go to sleep now." He takes her hand and peacefully falls asleep. Meanwhile, manager calls Yoon to meet. She tries to blackmail him using the photo she took of him and Taeyeon holding hands. She says, "We can work together." But Yoon replies, "I already know they have a contract marriage, and you were the one who arranged this in the first place. Now, why do you want to break them up?" Manager admits, "Yes, I made a mistake. I regret it now." Still, Yoon refuses to make any deal. As manager walks away, she said, "I'm sure one day you'll come looking for me, asking for help." The next day, Taeyeon gets a call from Yoon. He had planned a surprise for her. It was a music album she had been searching for. Yoon had finally found it and gives it to her. She was genuinely happy, but just then, a girl secretly takes their photo and sends it to Sha. At the same time, Jinzi was feeling happy too. That morning, he was in a great mood, talking sweetly to everyone. He remembered how Taeyeon had comforted him the night before. He felt hopeful. Maybe they won't get divorced after all. But suddenly, a bombshell dropped. Those photos of Yoon and Taeyeon go viral all over social media. People start accusing Taeyeon of cheating on her husband, saying she's secretly dating Dr. Yoon. Jinzi sees all this and gets deeply disturbed. That night, he confronts Taeyeon with the photo. He asks, "Are you really dating him? These photos aren't the only thing. I've seen you two together many times." Taeyeon tries to explain, "There's nothing going on," but Jinzi is too angry. He shouts at her. Taeyeon, frustrated, yells back, "Why do you even care? Even if I'm dating him, we're just contracted spouses, right?" That was it. Jinzi snapped. In anger, he forcefully kisses her and says, "I care, because I'm your husband." And in return, Taeyeon slaps him hard across the face. That's how their big fight started. After that, Taeyeon disappeared. None of her friends, not Yoon, not Jin, can find her. She had left home and gone somewhere unknown. Jinzi is full of regret, thinking, "I shouldn't have done that to her." Meanwhile, Yoon keeps searching for her, and finally, he finds her in a far-off place. But Taeyeon had expected that the one who'd come to find her first would be Jinzi. Jinzi did come, but by the time he reached, Taeyeon was already gone. Taeyeon was in a safe place, and when Yoon came to meet her, she told him, "We should maintain some distance for a while. I don't want to create trouble for anyone." Meanwhile, Jinzi was going crazy trying to find her, calling again and again, but she was nowhere to be found. And to make it worse, Manager yelled at him, saying, "You're becoming irresponsible. I have to answer all your calls these days. Your career is at stake. Please get serious." But Jean-Z calmly replied, "I don't care about all this anymore. Even if it started as a contract merit, I've fallen in love with her." Hearing this, Manager was completely shocked. She couldn't even respond. Meanwhile, Yoon called Manager to meet. He thought she was the one behind the photo leak, but Manager denied it. "I'm not that crazy. I didn't leak those pictures, someone else did." And then she added, "Instead of doubting me, focus on Tion, because Jean-Z told me he likes her." So now, Yoon calls Jean-Z and asks, "Do you want to meet Tion?" Jean-Z says, "Yes, let me speak to her now." But Yoon replies, "She's not with me right now. If you really want to see her, meet me tomorrow at 9 a.m. The next day, Jean-Z meets Yoon. Yoon tells him, "You know those viral photos of me and Tion? They're edited. We were never that close. Don't you trust Tion? She was hurt. That's why she ran away from home in the middle of the night." Yoon makes him realize how deeply Tion was hurt and that she still needs him. But Jean-Z warns him, "I'm asking you one last time. I'm her husband, and I have the right to know where she is." Yoon shoots back, "You're a contracted husband. Beyond what's written on a paper, you and I are not very different." Now even Jean-Z starts suspecting that maybe Manager was behind the photo leak. She was always spying on him and Tion. So he confronts Manager directly. But she replies, "You've known me for years. Why would I ruin your career? You've changed so much ever since Tion came into your life." Later, Jean-Z posts a statement on social media. "I trust my wife completely. When the whole world is blaming Tion, I choose to stand beside her." This statement goes viral everywhere. Manager is furious. She had enjoyed watching the world hate Tion, but now everything was changing. Tion also sees the post. She's happy, but also confused. She doesn't know where her relationship with Jean-Z is heading. Even Yoon notices her sadness and asks, "What's wrong?" She softly says, "I'm just an ordinary girl. His career matters the most. If he does all this for me, I don't think I deserve it." Meanwhile, Jean-Z had assigned his assistant and others to track Tion's location. Eventually, through Yoon's hint, he finds where she is. He goes to that place and sees Tion with Yoon. Jean-Z tries to talk to her, but she refuses. Yoon steps in and says, "You can't force her. You're not her real husband." Jean-Z apologizes sincerely. "I was wrong. I should have stood by your side." Tion quietly walks away. Later, Tion switches her phone on. Jean-Z had sent her a message. "When will you come home? I'm waiting. And bring this small animal with you." Tion gets confused. "What small animal?" Then she remembers. 2 nights ago, she was talking to a lizard at that place. She joked, "Are you Jean-Z's spy or what?" Now she starts suspecting. Maybe it really was. In anger, she throws a few stones at it. Suddenly, a ring falls out of the lizard's mouth. It was the same ring Jean-Z had once gifted her. He had placed it there secretly, hoping she'd find it. Meanwhile, Manager shows up at Jean-Z's house again. She scolds him. "You've become irresponsible. You're an idol. You have fans and a public image. Have you forgotten who you were 7 years ago?" But Jean-Z calmly replied, "I just want to be a singer. Even if I'm an idol with millions of fans, can't I live my own life off the stage? Can't I have feelings?" Later, Tion finally returns home. She still seemed a little distant, but Jean-Z was just happy. At least she came back. Meanwhile, Jean-Z's assistant Tane was helping Sha take some gym photos. He accidentally sees in her gallery the original leaked photo. He realizes that Sha was the one behind the scandal. She gets caught, and in front of Tion and Jean-Z, she confesses, "I was jealous of Tion. I like Jean. I wanted to ruin her image." Now Jean-Z feels relieved. At least Manager wasn't behind it. Later, the couple visits Jean-Z's family house, but his father seemed upset, especially because even Yoon, his favorite student, was now involved in the scandal. Jean-Z explained, "Fame comes with a price. This is part of my field. But everything is okay now." Because of the fight, Jean-Z leaves the house in anger. Tion runs after him and tries to stop him, but he says, "I'm not staying. If you want to, stay by yourself." Now Tion really regrets everything. She never had a real family. All she ever wanted was for Jean-Z to stay close to his own family. She goes back inside and tries to cheer everyone up. She suggests they all play mahjong together, but since that game needs 4 players and they only had 3, Dad is forced to join in as the 4th. And for the first time in many days, they sit as a family and play, and Dad keeps winning. He even smiles. Seeing that makes Tion feel at peace again. While staying at the house, Tion finds a photo album with Jean-Z's childhood pictures. Some of them were hilariously funny. She calls Jean-Z and teases him about it. And just like that, she manages to lighten his mood too. Later, they talk about childhood memories and family, and Tion tries to convince him Dad. Jean-Z on the phone even says, "I miss you a lot, please come home back." Tion hears it, but pretends like she didn't, acting as if the signal was bad. She's blushing because she feels the same way. That night, Tion plays the piano. Dad hears the music and comes downstairs. They both sit together, flipping through Jean Z's childhood album, having heartfelt conversation. Tion tells Dad, "You know, I saw some tickets with Jean Z. At every concert, he keeps one VIP front seat empty. Did you ever wonder why? Because it's for a special person. And I believe that person is you. But until you show up, his music life will always feel incomplete." Still, Dad doesn't say anything. Meanwhile, Jean Z is working on a new song, and the lyrics were actually written by Tion. It was a song about love for his father. Soon, Jean Z's special concert day arrives, his first big event since all the controversy. Tion asks him for a few tickets, and he gives them. But when she asks for one more VIP front row ticket, Jean Z refuses and says, "That seat is for Dad, but he'll never come anyway." Tion tells him, "Just leave that to me." Later, she goes to the hospital to meet Dad, but he's not there. Instead, Yoon is there. He says, "Today's a special day, it's my birthday." Tion smiles and even brings him cake. Yoon tells her, "I miss my childhood friend a lot. The day after tomorrow, I'll wait for her at the beach. I really hope she comes." Tion still isn't sure if she is that childhood friend. And besides, the day after tomorrow is also Jean Z's concert day, which she definitely plans to attend. Meanwhile, we see Ling. He wants to replace Jean Z in an upcoming movie. When the director refuses, he comes up with a dirty trick. He sends a spy to manager's office, who finds and steals the contract marriage documents and takes photos. On the concert day, Tion teams up with grandmother and mom to trick Dad, since he refused to take the concert ticket from her. So they pretend grandmother is sick and say, if she's not going, at least someone from the family should go. Finally, Dad sees the VIP front seat ticket left on the table. He quietly tells Mom, "I'll be home a little late tonight." Yoon is sitting at the beat, waiting for her. But there was now someone more important in Tion's life, the one she had given her heart to, and that was Jean Z. She gets stuck in traffic and can't reach the concert, but she watches the whole thing live on TV. Meanwhile, Dad reaches the concert venue. When the guards find out he's Jean Z's dad, they treat him with full respect and escort him to the VIP seat. Now Dad is sitting among all the teenage girls, cheering like one of them, fully enjoying his son's concert. And Jean Z sings the very same song, the one he wrote, with love for his father. They show Tion feeling very special. On the other side, while watching this song on TV, Tion is reminded of her own father. She had written those lyrics thinking about him. And when Jean Z sees that his dad is sitting in the front VIP seat today, that seat is not empty. Tears come into his eye. His longtime dream had finally come true. After the concert, when he reaches home, he's very angry with Tion for not coming. But Tion hugs him and says, "Sorry, I really tried to come, and your song made me very emotional." Hearing this, Jean Z forgives her and gives her the same record that had once been broken, now repaired. On the other side, they show Yoon finally closing the chapter of his first love, his childhood love. He sits on that beat, leaves all his memories there, and walks away. Meanwhile, one day Ling comes to manager and says, "That role you're getting Jean Z in director Gwan's movie, I want it. If not, I'll leak his fake marriage to the media." Manager gets really stressed. She starts suspecting someone from her own office is helping Ling, someone who had searched her office before. Back to Tion. She visits her music teacher, and there, she gets big news. The song she had written will be featured in director Gwan's upcoming movie. She gets super happy because Jean Z is going to be the lead actor in that very same film. They hold a meeting related to the movie. Tion, the composer, and Jean Z, the singer, sit together. They even take a group selfie and post it online. Jean Z is truly happy he gets to sing her song in his own movie. Later, Jean Z gives Tion a puzzle. Actually, it was his way of confessing his love. But before she could solve it, her dog eats the puzzle pieces. Jean Z just regrets silently. Meanwhile, manager sets a trap. She speaks loudly in front of the girl she suspects is spying for Ling. That same girl sneaks back into her office and finally gets caught red-handed. On the other side, Jean Z and Tion go on a ski trip. There, Jean Z surprises her and says, "Actually, I love you. Yes, maybe our love started with a contract, but now, after being with you, I've really fallen for you." Then he asks, "Do you like me too?" Tion doesn't say anything. She just kisses him on the forehead. That answer was enough. They hug, but just then, manager arrives. She had tried to negotiate with Ling and his partner, but they refused. So, Ling and his team leak the entire truth about Jean Z's contract marriage on social media. As soon as they return, Jean Z and Tion find their whole family waiting for them, full of questions. Is this true? Or is the media lying? Marriage is serious. How can you play with it like this? Now they have no choice but to confess the whole truth to the family. Tion tells grandma everything. Jean Z explains to his dad, "Yes, we started off fake, but now it's real. We love each other. The family accepts them. If it's true love now, that's what matters. You both can have a real marriage now. You will always have our respect like a true daughter-in-law. Jinzi's family was amazing. And for Tian, who had no family of her own, this felt like finally having one. But now came the agency's pressure. They told Jinzi, blame everything on Tian. Say she forced you into this contract. Then public sympathy will come to you. We can control this, damn it. Even manager tells Tian, do you want his career to be destroyed? He worked for 7 years to reach here. If you love him, take the blame and leave his life. Tian agreed, but Jinzi doesn't. He says, even if I get ruined, I won't blame Tian. She also has dreams. She wants to be a music composer. I won't let her career end before it starts. He goes and tells this to manager. They argue. Manager says, you think you're someone now? Don't forget. The world is cruel. In 2 years, people will forget you. And there are 10 boys lined up for your spot. All they need is a chance. After that, Jinzi and Tian meet. Both are super tense but act normal. Tian doesn't tell him she's agreed to take all the blame. Instead, she spends one last happy day with him, dancing in the rain. Then she hugs him. The next day, when Jinzi wakes up, Tian is gone. He assumes she went to her friend's place. Later, he goes to his agency and appears in front of the media. There, he says everything straight from his heart. Yes, I lied to you all, and I apologize. But the truth is I love Tian. Our marriage started as a contract, but slowly, without realizing, it became real love. Then he says, I'm ready to quit this agency. Ling watches all this, but instead of feeling like he won, he realizes Jinzi may have lost the game, but still, he won something bigger. Jinzi was standing tall, his head held high, while Ling's head was lower. He felt like a loser. Meanwhile, they show Tian watching the same movie she once saw with Jinzi. So many memories were attached to it. And with those very memories, she left that house. Jinzi only finds out when he receives a letter from her. In it, she wrote, I don't want you to give up on your music or your career because of me. She had torn up the marriage contract and thrown it away. Seeing this, Jinzi feels heartbroken. It felt like he had lost everything. His entire world was Tian, and now she had left. After that, a whole year passed. After taking a year-long break, Jinzi decided he wouldn't return to his agency, but he would return to music. Manager also comes to wish him the best. She has now moved on, even found a boyfriend. She wants Jinzi to live the life he truly wants. She asks him, will you look for Tian? Jinzi replied, yes, I definitely will. On the other side, we see Dr. Yu. He had also finally moved on from Tian. Now he was happily living his life, playing with children, smiling. Even had a girlfriend now. One day, he visits a flower shop, and there, surprisingly, he sees Tian. He gets so happy. Tian is also delighted to see her old friend after so long. When she finds out Yoon has a girlfriend, she's truly happy for him. She even gifts them a book from her own flower shop. Yoon also learns that Tian still writes songs, and she has only one wish, that the song she's writing now should be sung by Jinzi. Yoon goes to meet Jinzi. He tells him, there's someone who's waiting for you, and he hands Jinzi a flower shop card. Jinzi understands. That's where he'll find his Tian. He immediately rushes there. The place was far away. It was the same place where he and Tian had gone for their honeymoon. There, he sees Tian. Both of them run into each other's arms and hug. Tian teasingly says, you haven't changed at all. You're still the same. Jinzi replies with a smile. Well, your husband is smart, after all. Tian playfully says, you're not my husband. Our contract is over. Right then, Jinzi kneels down. He takes out a ring, and also shows her a huge photo of their first meeting, hung from a hot air balloon. It was also special. Of course, Tian says yes. After that, they go and officially register their marriage. Last time, they had only taken a photo, no legal paperwork. But this time, they were truly, legally husband and wife. For the wedding ceremony, the dress was not selected by manager, but by Tian herself. Then we see them dressed as bride and groom, posing for their wedding photo shoot. Family and friends were all there, celebrating with them. Later, the scene shifts. Jinzi makes his comeback in the music world, and the very first song he sings is called Midsummer is Full of Love, written by his wife Tian. Even his ex-agency fully supports him. That song becomes a big hit. And with this, the story ends with a beautiful happy ending. But there's one last surprise for us. Sometimes, relationships built on love are more powerful than those built on blood. In the final scene, we learn something emotional. The father whom Tian remembered all her life was not her biological father. She was adopted, someone had left her, and he had raised her, given her the name Tian, and loved her more than anything in the world. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.